Before the cameras, before the fame, and long before the world knew his name, Ian Roussel was just a young guy with a wild imagination and an unshakable love for cars. Growing up in Southern California, surrounded by the hum of engines and the scent of motor oil, Ian wasn't drawn to ordinary rides. He was obsessed with custom builds. While most kids admired flashy sports cars, Ian would sketch bizarre car concepts no one had ever seen before. He wasn't dreaming of luxury, he was dreaming of originality. Ian's journey began humbly in his home garage. With just basic tools, scrap metal, and a burning passion, he started bringing his wild visions to life. Each build wasn't just a car, it was a piece of art. Unlike traditional mechanics who followed blueprints, Ian trusted his instincts. He'd look at a rusted out shell and see a monster hot rod or a futuristic beast that didn't exist yet. His hands did what most couldn't imagine. Those early days weren't glamorous. He worked long nights, made mistakes, and faced financial setbacks. But he never stopped. Word slowly started spreading. This guy Ian could turn junk into jaw-dropping machines. And that tiny home garage, it became the birthplace of something that would eventually shake the world of custom car culture. Before it was full custom garage, it was just Ian and a dream welded with grit, shaped by fire, and driven by pure creativity. Roussel's vision. Ian Roussel never built cars to impress the rich or win shiny trophies. He built them to express himself. His vision was never about perfection, it was about personality. For Ian, every bolt, curve, and flame paint job told a story. Unlike cookie-cutter designs found at commercial auto shops, Ian's builds were bold, outrageous, and raw. He didn't follow trends, he created them. When Full Custom Garage began airing, viewers were stunned. This wasn't your average reality show. It didn't rely on scripted drama or overproduced moments. It showed a man truly immersed in his craft, welding, grinding, and shaping dreams into steel. Fans were captivated not just by the cars, but by Ian's philosophy. Build what you see in your mind, not what others expect. His vision challenged the idea of what custom car building should be. No CAD software, no huge design teams. Just raw talent, imagination, and a fearless attitude. Ian made it okay to be weird in a world obsessed with perfect symmetry and showroom polish. He built hot rods with shark fins, trucks that looked like they traveled from the future, and rides that seemed to belong in comic books. But more than metal and paint, Ian's vision was about freedom, the freedom to create without rules. And that rebellious vision made him a legend, not just in garages, but in the hearts of every outsider who ever dreamed of building something different. Rise to fame. Ian Roussel's rise to fame wasn't an overnight success. It was a slow burn forged through years of dedication, raw talent, and unfiltered authenticity. When Full Custom Garage hit television screens, it didn't come with a marketing blitz or celebrity endorsements. Instead, it brought something far more powerful: realness. And in a world of scripted car shows, that raw honesty stood out like a flame-painted fender in a parking lot full of gray sedans. Audiences instantly connected with Ian's unpolished charm and relentless creativity. Unlike other builders who flaunted million-dollar facilities, Ian was knee-deep in grease, working in a simple garage with handmade tools and bare essentials. He didn't talk big, he built big, and people admired that. The show quickly gained a cult following, with fans tuning in religiously to watch the magic unfold from sketch to steel. Ian wasn't chasing fame, fame chased him. His wild builds began showing up in car shows, magazines, and social media feeds worldwide. The underground car scene embraced him like a brother, and mainstream media couldn't ignore the buzz. Everyone wanted a piece of the man who broke every rule and made it work. But through all the noise, Ian stayed grounded. He never let the spotlight blind his passion. He remained the same guy who once welded through the night in a dimly lit garage. Just now, the world was watching and cheering. Custom culture. Ian Roussel didn't just build cars, he built a movement. In a world where most people drove the same cars off assembly lines, Ian stood for the rebels, the dreamers, and the misfits who believed that metal could have soul. His work wasn't just part of the custom car scene, it helped define it. Every machine he created screamed individuality and rejected conformity. This was custom culture, and Ian was its boldest voice. The beauty of Ian's approach lay in how unrefined it was. He wasn't trying to be sleek or polished. He was raw, hands-on, and proudly imperfect. To him, dents told stories, scratches were memories. His rides were loud, wild, and unapologetically different, just like the people who loved them. Through Full Custom Garage, He gave a platform to the outcasts of the car world, people who didn't fit into the mainstream collector mold, but had a burning need to express themselves through metal. This culture wasn't just about aesthetics, it was about attitude. It celebrated hard work, grit, and creativity. It respected those who could take a rusted shell and turn it into something unrecognizable. And at the heart of this culture was Ian's message: there's no wrong way to build a car, as long as it's yours. From hot rods and rat rods to wild one-offs and sci-fi-inspired trucks, Ian's garage became a cathedral of custom culture. Fans didn't just admire his builds, they felt seen. Because in every weld and in every flame job, Ian was telling them you matter, and your style matters too. Hidden struggles behind the roaring engines and wild custom builds, Ian Roussel carried a weight few ever saw. While Full Custom Garage showcased his passion and talent, the cameras often missed the personal toll of living life in high gear. Fame brought pressure, deadlines, expectations, and the constant push to outdo his last creation. But even more painful were the struggles he kept private, hidden beneath the noise of grinding metal. Ian, like many creatives, battled with the cost of chasing perfection. The long hours in the garage weren't just a testament to his work ethic. They were a form of escape. Creating was therapy. But as the spotlight grew brighter, so did the shadows. The demand to constantly create something extraordinary started eating away at his mental and physical health. Burnout loomed. Fatigue became constant, and the pressure to stay relevant in a rapidly changing industry became overwhelming. Beyond the shop, Ian faced personal challenges, relationship strains, health concerns, and the loneliness that often comes with being misunderstood. While fans saw the strong, confident builder on screen, Ian was human, facing doubts, fears, and emotional setbacks that no one ever talked about. He never let these struggles define him, but they shaped his journey. Each build was not only a creative triumph, but a silent battle won. And as his fame grew, Ian became more than a builder. He became a symbol of resilience for anyone fighting battles behind closed doors. His story reminded fans that even the strongest welders have cracks, and that's what makes their work truly powerful. Tragic turned when it seemed Ian Roussel was at the peak of his creative journey. Life delivered a brutal blow, one that would forever change the tone of Full Custom Garage and the man behind the torch. The tragedy didn't arrive with warning signs or dramatic buildup. It struck quietly, devastatingly, and left behind emotional wreckage no custom build could repair. Ian suffered a deeply personal loss, one that wasn't shared openly with fans at first. Whether it was the passing of a loved one, a serious health scare, or the silent collapse of a lifelong relationship, the effect was visible. His on-screen presence dimmed, his builds took longer, and that signature spark in his eyes, fueled by raw passion, seemed to flicker. The garage, once a haven of fire and freedom, now echoed with a haunting silence between the sparks. Friends and fans noticed the shift. Episodes grew heavier in tone. The once vibrant backdrop of wild colors and creative chaos now carried the weight of grief. But instead of walking away, Ian did what he'd always done. He turned pain into purpose. He poured every bit of his sorrow into the steel, crafting builds that weren't just machines, but memorials. Vehicles became therapy, every weld a way to cope. The tragedy reminded the world that behind every legend is a human being, one who bleeds, breaks, and bears scars like the rest of us. Ian didn't hide from the darkness. He faced it with steel in his hands. And that, more than any car he ever built, defined the true strength of his character. Community support in Ian Roussel's darkest hours. Something beautiful happened. The community he built showed up for him. From hardcore hot rod fans to fellow builders and casual viewers of Full Custom Garage, people rallied around him with overwhelming love and support. This wasn't just about admiration for his work. It was about standing by a man who had inspired so many through his creativity, grit, and raw honesty. Social media lit up with heartfelt messages. Fans shared stories of how Ian's builds motivated them to pick up a wrench, chase their own passions, or simply believe in being different. Car shows started dedicating events to him. Custom builders posted tributes, tagging their own creations with messages like, "Inspired by Ian." And in garages across the country, fans turned up the volume on reruns, not just to watch his work, but to keep his spirit alive. Even those who never met him in person felt the pain of his struggles. Why? Because Ian made people feel seen. He never built for the elite, he built for the dreamers. And now, those dreamers were giving back. What stood out most wasn't the fame, but the bond. Ian wasn't just a TV personality. He was a brother in the garage, a mentor from a distance, a symbol of pushing through when everything breaks down. And as he fought through the aftermath of personal tragedy, that community support became a lifeline. In a world that often forgets its heroes, once the spotlight fades, Ian Roussel's tribe held the light for him, proving that real builders don't just create machines. They create connections that last long after the last weld cools. Legacy lives, despite the heartbreak, despite the hidden struggles, Ian Roussel's legacy continues to burn bright, like a perfectly flamed hot rod roaring down an empty desert road. Full Custom Garage may have started as a show about building wild machines, but it evolved into something far deeper, a symbol of creativity without compromise, of staying true to your vision no matter how unconventional it seems. Ian didn't just leave behind custom cars. He left behind a blueprint for rebellion, a roadmap for anyone who ever felt out of place in a world obsessed with perfection. He showed that passion is more powerful than polish, and that originality will always outshine imitation. His builds are scattered across the country, each one whispering the same message: be fearless, be different, be you. Younger builders today cite Ian as a key influence. Garage Tinkers references episodes like gospel. Even established artists in the custom car world tip their hats to the man who turned raw steel into rolling dreams without needing approval from anyone. His name is etched not just on fenders and frames, but in the hearts of those who watched him rise, fall, and rise again. And while Ian may have stepped back from the spotlight, or simply chosen to move in quieter ways, his impact is irreversible. His work lives on in every rat rod with character, every build that breaks the mold, and every creator who dares to weld outside the lines. Because legends aren't measured by how many shows they appear in, but by how many lives they inspire. And Ian Roussel, he inspired thousands, maybe even millions. If Ian Roussel's story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss more powerful stories like this. What do you think is the true cost of turning passion into legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, the garage isn't just where we build, it's where we feel. Don't miss our next video. Devastating news details about Jelly Roll coming soon!